Well, hello there. Haven't seen me in a few hours, huh? I know. Well, I'm already doing another video, and here's why. Okay, I have a friend, really good friend, who is on PEDs right now. I'm not going to say which ones, but he's having some issues, and he came to me for advice, and then he's freaking out, and I mean, that's understandable because sides are a big issue when you're using PEDs, but uh, he should have taken my advice because he has been so brainwashed by bad sources that he believes some of these myths that are proliferated by these experts in the field who actually know nothing about the PEDs and actual research and actual studies and actual information on the subject. And the internet is full of garbage for sources. So I'm not actually going to discuss PEDs, their use, or anything specific. What I'm here to discuss is sources. Okay, and you might say, well, why am I qualified to give you this information? Well, first of all, I've been working out since I was 14. Okay, I've been using PEDs since I was 17. I have powerlifting records. Oh, wait, that does not matter. That has nothing to do with good information and why I'm an expert. Okay? This, first of all, is on sources. Checking your sources and checking your information and making sure you get good information so that you have a good basis to really, you know, use these PEDs the right way, safely, effectively, and without ruining your body. So, why am I qualified to give you that information? Well, this may surprise you, it might shock you, but actually I have a bachelor's degree in English Lit, okay? And if anybody knows anything about an English Lit major, is that they write a crap ton of papers, okay? Now, I hate reading unless I'm actually really interested in it, and then I love reading, but most of these papers were on books or authors that I was not interested in this stuff, so I'm not going to read the book or the biography. What I'm going to do is I'm going to research the book, I'm going to research the biography, and then I'm going to write the paper. And guess what? I'm still getting good grades, and I'm still succeeding because good research. Okay, so I can BS through anything. Okay, but a college professor is not gonna take something you got off Wikipedia and you're gonna write about it, and they're gonna know immediately you did not read the book or you did not read the biography. You're just BSing your way through, and you got some crappy information, and now you're getting an F. So I learned real quick because I tried to BS a paper my first year in college. It was a class on Dante Alighieri. Okay, holy crap, was this class? This was boring. Okay, my professor was a guy from Yale. He was so stuffy and stuck up, and like it was horrible. But anyways, I had to write a fictional biography on one of the characters from Dante's Inferno, and that character was Vanni Fucci. Okay, now I ended up getting a C on this paper, and I actually did read Inferno, but uh, what happened is I used two his references in that paper. One being grappa, okay, the other being tomatoes. Not thinking anything of it, okay. I think these are like in unimportant things, facts in this paper because I'm just an awesome writer and I could BS my way through anything. Well, I get the paper back. Now, I got like a C or I don't even know. But in red, he's got the part about the grappa and the part about the tomato circled with notes next to him, and I'm like, what the heck is this? So he literally, okay, points out that in the 1200s, distillation was not at a point where grappa was yet acquirable by the distillation techniques of the time. Okay, there's a one. Tomatoes were not introduced into Europe until after the exploration and colonization of the New World. Tomatoes are from Italy, right? Oh, no, actually, they're not. So, I went real quick to get proper information, especially if I was going to BS my way through these papers without reading the material. So, and I've told people this stuff back in college, and they were like, they tried to do it, and they all end up getting called out on their BS because they use crappy sources. Well, you can't just go on there and use any old source because, number one, it's been reposted or changed or just translated or whatever poorly or by somebody who doesn't know what they're doing or whatever, and now it's complete garbage, and a professor who is an expert on the subject is going to call you out on that. So if it, that much research and source checking is important in an English paper, that really doesn't matter, okay? When it comes to doing PEDs and putting substances in your body, how much more important is that information, right? Okay, so who are good sources, or what are the good sources, or how do you find out if a source is, legit or whatnot? Well, simple answer is there's no real way to tell. Okay, because even your experts are going to give you some garbage, okay, or aren't going to be, the information they provide is not going to be applicable to actual usage, right? Okay, so if you go on there and use Ronnie Coleman as your source, he might have some good information, and he's a pro, and he uses this stuff, and it might work for him. But if you listen to him, it might kill you because Ronnie Coleman is a monster and a beast, and was on ungodly, obscene amounts of juice and other performance-enhancing steroids, drugs. So you might want to take like whatever he says with a grain of salt. A doctor, okay, their information might be pretty on point. However, you might be healthy because you're following their information, but you're not going to grow because they're not going to tell you that 500 milligrams of test is okay. They're going to tell you that's a large dosage, blah 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 blah, and what they're going to tell you is whatever is going to be healthier for you. So that might not be applicable to actual real world use of these substances. Okay, so where do you get your information? How do you sort it out? Well, first of all, my buddy loves forums, okay, and they're garbage. Don't use forums, man, period. First of all, here's why. When I was 19, okay, I had done about 3 cycles already, okay, I was huge. My senior year of high school, I maxed out at 365 on the bench. 2 years prior, I couldn't even lift a bar, okay. My arms were 19 inches when I was 19. I was a monster, okay, but I only done like 3 cycles. I thought I knew everything. And I was actually a moderator of one of the biggest, most popular bodybuilding and PED forums there was. Okay, I lied and said I was much older and that I had much more medical experience than I did. There's a prime example of why you don't listen to these people on forums. Now, the information I was giving out was actually well researched because I'm not an idiot, and it was probably better than half the stuff you find on forums from these so-called experts. Now, but nowadays there's so much garbage on there, you can't sort through it. There's no way to actually tell if a source on a forum is who they say they are and if they're out for your best interest, which most likely they're not. So sources from a forum are generally going to fall into 3 categories, okay? These are the so-called experts you're listening to. One is the me from that time. Okay, so they're 18 or 19-year-old kid who says they're much older and that they've been doing juice forever and they have all this experience and they're a chemist or they're a medical professional, blah 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 blah. And really, truth be told, they're 19 and they've done 3 cycles and they don't even know anything yet. Okay. 2, they're about 50. They live in their parents' basement still. They don't have a girlfriend. They've been experimenting with their body for 30 years on steroids, okay? They have no actual scientific evidence for any of the reasons why they do what they do. They probably have man boobs, and they jerk off with their own tears at night. They're sad, and they're the ones giving you this information. Good source. No. 3rd, there's somebody trying to sell you something, which might not be a horrible thing because there is some sources out there who are very honest about what they're selling and what the effects are, but they're trying to sell a product at the end of the day, and that's why they're not a reliable source. Okay? So, forums out. Period. Okay? YouTube, which I'm on right now. So, YouTube must be a great source, right? Well, it is, but it isn't. You need to source check. Okay? You need to be checking things out. Because like I said, listening to Ronnie Coleman might kill you. Listening to a doctor might end up making you never grow, which would be healthy. If you listen to Ronnie Coleman, you might end up being huge, but you might be dead. I don't know. Anyways, there's some really good information out there, but my suggestion is listen to the people who are living it, okay? But even those people, take with a grain of salt, because sometimes they're not either going to be 100% honest, or they're trying to sell a product, or they're romanticizing things. Okay, so take everything. If a lot of people are saying the same thing, and they appear to be living the life, then maybe do some further research into it. But check other sources. So check your medical studies, actual research studies, okay? And even with those, you need to be checking for certain information, okay? So you want to check the size of the group that was actually tested, okay? The controls that were in place. Was this a replicable result, or was it a one-time result? Were they using real world stuff? Okay, so were they using an actual person in the study, or were they using mice? What were the dosages? Were they ungodly dosages? So SARMs, they cause cancer in mice in ungodly dosages. Steroids, they cause liver damage, orals in mice in ungodly dosages. Yeah, they're hepatotoxic, right? But dosage, pre-existing conditions, genetics, your lifestyle choices, are you a binge drinker, these all come into play in the mix, okay? So what works for me might not work for you. So if you're going to do this, you need to go into it knowing that you could really screw yourself up, and you can screw your life up, you can screw your body up, you can screw your mind up, you can screw a lot of things up if you're not careful. So you put in the time and the effort to do actual research, source check, and don't listen to the BS, okay? Now, like I was saying earlier about the forums and stuff, my buddy, he's been spoon-fed garbage, okay? And he's just eating it up like a eager little beaver, hungry little beaver, just eating up this crappy information, okay? Because he listens to this one guy, who I'm not going to mention his name, but he owned one of the biggest research companies out there, okay? And this guy is a tool. First of all, he's not even allowed to come back into the country, okay? And my buddy thinks that's cool. No, dude. I sold drugs. I ended up in prison, and I'm still allowed in the country. Like, hard drugs. I'm not proud of that, but I'm not out of the country. This guy, you're making millions of dollars, okay? You can't figure out a way to protect yourself and safeguard yourself from that kind of repercussion where you're not even allowed back into your own country. You got to go live in another country with a bunch of trainees. What is wrong with you? Okay? Plus, the guy's not even that big. What? Okay, then he listens to this other guy who weighs about 160 pounds, soaking wet. Oh, he's shredded. Great. So he's got a good diet. That doesn't make him an expert on PEDs, bro. Okay? Drives me insane. Okay? So one of my biggest pet peeves, if you haven't noticed. So, my suggestion is this. Do your research. If you're going to decide to use, wait until the absolute last moment when you've exhausted all other avenues, okay? You're at top peak physical condition. You have taken everything and anything that's legal and safe, and just because it's legal doesn't mean it's safe, by the way. But you are at a point where you're at a plateau, and it's now, do I stay at this point or do I take it to the next level? That's a point when you make that decision to jump into something that could be life-threatening or cause serious damage. You don't make that decision when you're like 18, or like I did, that was stupid, or when you're 60, or when you're just some guy who's never going to do anything except for lift a couple weights and show off at the bar. Okay? That is not the way to do it, and that's not correct. And I'm not an advocate of PEDs, but I'm not a proponent of it either. I think there's a time and a place for everything, but that's a personal choice you need to make, and whether you're willing to live with the possible ramifications, side effects, legal consequences, etc., etc., etc. Not to mention, maybe possibly screwing up your mind and body forever if you don't do it right. So check your damn sources, man. Do your research and put some work into this, because you're playing with your life. You're gambling with your life here, okay? And that goes for like legal supplements too. I mean, the stuff that I'm putting into these compounds I'm coming out with, these formulations, they're not for like your novice bodybuilder. They're not for your 18-year-old kid. They're not for, a lot of them aren't for females. We're going to have a female line, but some of that stuff is like, some hardcore stuff. It's legal, yeah, but it's some hardcore stuff. And I wouldn't just jump into it or suggest anybody to jump into it unless they were at a serious point in their life when they are willing to take the risk to step it up a notch and to get to the next level. And that's a personal choice you need to make that no one should make for you, whether they're Ronnie Coleman. I'm just using him as an example because he's a beast. Tons of PEDs. Ungodly amounts of PEDs. So, yeah, I mean, this stuff is important. Now, if you're going to use PEDs, start out with 1 or 2 compounds. Start basic and work your way up. Because if you start out with a bunch of different compounds, first of all, okay, once you do all your research and you've picked a couple compounds, 1 or 2, 3 max to experiment with on yourself, then don't do 7 compounds, because you're never going to be able to determine which compounds worked, which compounds gave you the different results, which compounds gave you the side effects, which compounds were beneficial, which ones were detrimental. You have no clue, because you got so many compounds in the mix that it could have been any one of these that were giving you the results you're getting. It could have been any one of these that were giving you the side effects that you're getting. Okay? Stay basic. Okay? Start at a low to moderate dosage, not low where you're just replacing whatever levels are inside you and inhibiting your endogenous production if you're going to go that route. And don't go so low that, you might as well drink a couple cups of coffee. But don't go so high as you're doing a pro level cycle, or you're taking so much stim that you might as well just go do meth, or, you know what I'm saying? Start out low, start out with basic stuff, a few different things where you can monitor and track the results, and do that on a daily basis. Record everything. Get yourself checked beforehand and after. Get your blood work done, your liver values checked, your cholesterol levels checked. Make sure you got good support for everything, okay? And if you do it that way, you're minimizing your risks. you're still experimenting and playing roulette with your body and your mind, but and your legal status. But at least you're doing it in a scientific and smarter way, okay? And stop listening to the crap. The internet is full of crap. You might think this is crap. I don't care. Take it or leave it. But this is good, solid advice. Do the research. Check your sources. Don't go crazy. Be smart. You use your head. God gave you a brain for a reason, right? So use it. Don't fall into the hype. Just because a guy is a monster doesn't mean he has 5 brain cells to use, okay? Just because a guy has a degree doesn't mean he has any experience or real world knowledge of a substance that guys are taking that might not have any actual real world or medical uses, or you know, like never mind, I'm not even gonna say it, but the substance that my buddy's on, okay, no legitimate medical use for it, but it's one of my favorite things of all time, and I literally have never had any sides from it. But the internet is full of crap saying that it's so horrible for you and this, and the other thing. When this guy's on other substances that are way more prone to producing side effects. Okay? So you need to be smart about things, okay? I mean, use your noggin, man. Common sense goes a long way. But research goes a lot farther, man. So do it. Okay? Be safe. And then the last thing I'm going to say is, if it hasn't been out for a while and it's something brand new, maybe you should let somebody else experiment with it first. Just my opinion. Because who knows what the side effects are? Who knows what the long-term effects are? You don't know. And if it's only been tested on mice, yeah, that's great. There is a comparison, you know. Mice and human organs are similar and act in similar ways, function in similar ways. But a mouse is not a human being. The dosages are probably not going to be anywhere near what is actually going to be used. So, stick to compounds that have years and years of usage, years and years of data, years and years of research, years and years of real world people using them, and just vet everything, okay? Be careful. Big Tone Guido, probably giving you the only good advice. I am full of good advice, but this is important, okay? Good luck. God bless. Enjoy your journey. Don't hurt yourselves.